We have someone who doesn't come from the local environment.
I fled Uganda a few months back.
Mentally, how does all of this affect you?
It's a grassroots organization that is growing, and it is led by young transgender women that are trying to make a change.
How does then that change your life in a positive way?
When you go through your emails, you receive quite a lot of people crying out for help. My mother saw that, and she once told me, "Hey, boys will eat you one day." I know.
There is no one in their rightful mind. They can wake up in the morning and choose to be something that they know that walking out, you basically are against the world.
Thank you for watching our video. This show is sponsored by DreamStream. DreamStream is a unique platform where creators can monetize their video content. All creators rely on support from people like you. Join us on the DreamStream platform to support your favorite creator and view the episode without any adverts. Follow the link in the description for a how-to guide. DreamStream, a place where you can create yourself.
Someone who doesn't come from the local environment, but our guest comes from another part of the continent. And the name is Kagimu Frank Fabian, and also known as Fabiola Boldtype. That is my favorite, actually. Identify as a transgender woman, nationality from Uganda, all the way from Uganda. And I love the fact that they can speak English and Luganda. So then it means you are welcome to mix. Give us a little bit of Luganda.
Yeah.
Of course, I won't understand some, but just mix it up a bit there, So Fabian is a co-founder and executive director from Prism Empowerment and also Development Initiative, and interim executive director, Rainbow Refuge Africa, specializing in LGBTQ plus rights advocacy, transgender rights, mental health support, and HIV/AIDS organization. And we have the pleasure of hosting Fabian today. Fabian, thank you so much for making time to join me.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's such a very great privilege that I'm here. I'm very happy to be on such a platform. This is a platform that I've been following for quite some good time.
Thank you.
And I really love the fact that the Queer Talk has tried to go deep down to the Ugandan community and the entire Africa. I mean, it is really empowering. So I love the work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much. And appreciate the fact that, you made time out. I know that you are very busy.
Yeah.
Because you deal with a lot of issues.
Exactly.
And it's a daily thing, And I'd like you to just, take us through your typical day. How does your typical day look like?
Wow. Here in South Africa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, since you've been here.
Yeah. So I've been here for quite some time now. I fled Uganda a few months back. So I've been in South Africa for something like 8 months or even more.
Yeah.
So my day, oh my God. So my day is at times very challenging.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have to cope up with the culture here, everything in a new country.
Have you learned a bit of Zulu?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's
So
good.
I've learned quite some good words, and I
Yeah.
think Luganda and Zulu are interconnecting.
Oh.
So I know what's like Nyapila, Siyabonga, Unjani.
Look, you are now South African.
Exactly.
Those are the most important ones that you
Yeah.
need to learn.
So my day is quite very busy because I run an organization in Uganda.
Yeah.
I'm so proud about it. It's a grassroots organization that is growing, and it is led by young transgender women that are trying to make a change in regards to fighting for equity in mental health, advocating for human rights for transgender persons in Uganda, rendering HIV positive health care. We have a wellness center where we give mental health care, where we shelter. Now we have 6 persons that we give shelter. Yeah, I'm really glad and I'm really proud of my people, my team. They are very young transgender women. I'm looking at transgender women simply because yes, the entire community is marginalized, it is impacted and discriminated. But when you look at transgender persons, these are people that are living in hiding and concealing lives. Some of them are on hormones, and yeah, it is very hard to find work, when you're on hormonal therapy. And yeah, all the challenges that come along with the therapies and everything, they are beaten. I think in the entire community, it's the transgender women that are always beaten, imprisoned. I don't know. I don't want to call it drama, but it is really, it is very saddening.
It's just inhumane, man.
Yeah.
It's just inhumane.
So I'm always behind my laptop, having meetings here and there, communicating with a team, always thinking of what we can do for Uganda and the entire Africa. And of course, coming up with different proposals, looking for partnerships, staging different campaigns online, engaging. If not so, I'm out, having a life with different South African people. Yeah.
You need that as well.
South Africa is such a very beautiful country, very welcoming. But of course, the stigma is there. I'm sorry, but I have to say.
No, that's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. People have to know the truth.
Yeah, so my days are very busy.
Yeah.
And very challenging because when you go through your emails, you receive quite a lot of people crying out for help. Some of them are looking for leads of fleeing the country. Some of them are requesting for food. Most of them are requesting for shelter, well knowing that you have a very limited space to take in people. You do not have donors per se that are really helping. You only have well-wishers that come through and be like, "Hoi, Fabian, we love the work you are doing. Can I give 1,000 rand to these people? Can they get food?" So it's always such a very challenging time.
Sure.
But it's nice because we are offering services.
Yeah. But I think it's also the passion that drives you to do that, because I don't think everybody can be able to do that, because also I'm thinking that mentally, how does all of this affect you, and how are you able to manage it, that you still have time also to take care of yourself?
I mean, to be frank, at times I forget about myself. I think I've gone through a lot. That at times I forget about myself, and my heart is on what's going on with the other person's life. What are they going to eat? And then after some time, I'm like, oh, I've not even had food today, So I think I've been tortured quite a lot mentally, physically. I've been drained, and I've been through depression. I've shut down, then brought myself back. That's why I'm a bold type. I'm very bold.
You're able to keep going and keep making
so
that
at least I've
difference.
realized that in each and every situation, you have to stand. Because if you stop, there are people that are looking at you and they have all their faith in you. They have all their voices. Like I carry a lot of voices within me. I speak for quite a lot of people.
Sure.
And I only have to keep going.
Yeah, and when we opened, you also mentioned that you had to flee your country. I'd like us to go back to you, from childhood, growing up. How was life like? Where in what space did you grow up in? Yeah.
Well, I grew up from a very humble family, humble background, with I would say obscure poverty. So we were very poor because I grew up knowing mom alone. I didn't see my father in the picture. And not until I was at a certain age That's when he came. And my mother was very young.
Yeah.
So we grew up with the mother in a single room, seeing her trying out life to see that we make it in life. At least we go to school.
Yeah.
That is one thing that she really, really worked so hard for us to get into school. But of course, since childhood, I was very sissy.
It was there.
Yeah, I was very gully, very sissy,
Yeah.
but very outspoken and very aggressive. But aggressive in a very nice way.
Yeah.
That I took on adulthood duties at a very tender age because my mother was working in a market, so she could get out very early in the morning and come back late in the evening.
Did you ever had to work with her? Like help
Yeah,
her out?
of course.
Okay.
So at some point, by the age of 6 years, I had to figure out, I had to know how they pay certain things. Of course, she could leave small money and you had to budget for it because she does not have the time to tell you, please do this. At least in the first week, she could tell you, you have to buy this and this and this. So within that week, you know that this is how we eat and everything. So you have to improvise, you have to sit and plan, you have to know how to cook, you have to know how to take care of the household.
At a tender age.
At a very tender age. So
we're looking like 8, 9, 10?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was by the age of 6, I was, doing adulthood duties, like for sure. And my mother, I don't want to say she was rude, but I think she was also going through a situation whereby she was on her own.
Yeah.
She was really young and she did not get the time to enjoy herself as a young, adult. So she could be very rude at me in most cases. I remember she could come back home very frustrated and not to put the frustration on my young siblings, but me. But I realized later when I was doing psychology at university that this lady was undergoing through a very critical phase of depression, of not having a husband at home.
Yeah.
I remember this one time she went out, she drank, and then she poured out. She said such very sharpening words to me. I was very young, but till now I moved with those words.
Sure.
She told me, you are the reason as to why I do not have the life that I deserve to have. It's because of your father. Everything that I make goes on to you. In me, I thought that she didn't like me or something, but she was just shaping me to become a very responsible and a very affectionate person and a person who loves others. So I grew up taking on such adulthood duties, taking care of my young siblings.
So how did those dynamics then affect your relationship with your mom?
I could barely have a real conversation with my mother. Even now.
Sure.
Like I cannot speak to her like a friend because I have that fear in me.
Yeah.
I did not feel welcomed as a child. As my other young siblings and other children were playing, I was always at home, either cooking, washing clothes. I mean, I'm not blaming her. I'm happy that I'm a person I am today because of her. But our relationship was always distant. I could go through a lot and I could not share it with my mom. And I could confide in neighbors. And whenever she could hear that I spoke something, instead of listening to me or something, she could just, shout at me. Always on my, oh my God, she was very, I don't know, she was hard at me in most of the times till now. We have never had that discussion as to why she raised me through that situation. Our relationship was full of fragments, and I was one of the most obedient. Like I've never been expelled from school. Never. I've had everything. I've had the best scores, the best reports throughout the school. I've had different scholarships in school. So she was a very tough lady. She is, because she's still living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And at what point do you realize that actually I'm different from other boys? And actually I feel this way.
Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
I think it started way back when I was still a child. I never played with boys. I was always with girls. I tried on different heels, doing lipstick,
Heels are
makeup
nice too,
myself.
right?
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, you feel like you're owning the world. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So I think it started way in the childhood. But as you grow as a teenager, there is that stage of puberty.
Yeah.
But I think my mother saw that, and she once told me, "Hey, boys will eat you one day." I know, you know.
But parents always know, eh?
Yes.
They can tell from a very young age.
So she could push me to do boy things. You have to. Why are you always slow? Why do you speak like that? Can't you? You know. But inside, it was me, and I couldn't change. So I tried dating girls way back. I don't even remember. So we were in school, but during this age of puberty, that is when I realized, because I was in boarding, and I could tell that, oh my God,
But in
this
school,
guy,
oh my word,
this guy is really nice.
Yeah.
But of course, having been raised by a very strict parent, I feared like to engage in anything that could make me get expelled or something. So I could always bring myself together. So I wasn't called anywhere in regards to coupling in schools, doing this. So, but in me, I knew I could look at a guy and I'm like, oh, he looks good.
This is a potential one.
So,
so you never dated like in high school?
In high school with boys?
Yeah.
I think it was only once.
Okay.
It was only once. But the boys also saw me. I was cute.
I mean, you still are.
It was more. It was more when I was still young. So there is this guy in, how should I say?
Okay, maybe don't say the grade.
Yeah.
Just.
He was in an advanced level.
Okay.
And I was in my O level.
Yeah.
So he used to, of course, come through in my blanket, try out kissing.
Yeah.
And this one time I screamed and I reported, but I enjoyed that.
But why? Why do you scream? Why do you report?
The next time I'm the one who took myself. And it was like that. But it was unfortunate but fortunate that they were doing their very final year and their final examinations. So it did not escalate that much. So I used to focus much on my academics. I was a very bookworm. Yeah.
Was it a way also of trying to not expose yourself in terms of really for people to see who you are?
I think also I hadn't even known who I am. Not until this time when I performed very well and my mother told me the national examinations had come out, and my mother was like, okay, what do you want as a gift? Now she's being a very nice parent. I'm like, I think I need a phone. So I got this phone and everything started with that one phone.
Okay. What do you mean when you say
curiosity?
Okay.
So you are in your puberty age, teen age. So of course the hormones are very active. So you jump on every side to watch. So I ended up landing on sites of porn. And one porn that I really loved so much was the gay porn.
So you were drawn to that.
Yes. And that is when I started thinking, oh my God, do we have such in Africa? So Facebook had just started. Started, going on Facebook, looking gay friends in Uganda. I couldn't find any, not until there is this one group. I think it was a university group also in one of the very prominent universities. They had made their group on Facebook, so I joined. So that's when people, of course, when you're young, gays love young things.
But also I think it's because it's a small community.
Yeah.
That's why it gets to
Exactly.
be that way. Yeah.
So, but all along, I thought I'm the only one in Africa. I used to deny myself, to hate myself. At one point, I even wanted to tell my mom that, why do I feel like this? So I spent some good time jacking off myself. It became an addiction.
Nice.
That,
because now also you're exposed to all these different sides.
That tortured me so badly.
Yeah.
Very badly.
Sure.
Very, yeah.
Yeah. So as now you get to see there's actually a community of people that are like me. How does then that change your life in a positive way?
Well, I was also still very afraid simply because I didn't know and I didn't want to know much about it because I was still in denial.
Yeah.
I thought, maybe it is evil or something. So this very first time, the guy called me out, and this guy was very experienced. They had moved and seen, and he was my very first guy that I've, I was very naive.
But you were inexperienced.
Yeah, I didn't know anything and I was very young. And I really hate the experience that this guy took me through because it also broke my heart so badly. So badly.
Yeah.
Because I remember after everything, it was a very fun but not fun experience. So the guy ghosted, he just went.
That sucks.
Yeah, and I used to reach out, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah.
You're only me and you in this world, and why are you running away? I mean, not knowing that there are actually quite a lot of people. Yeah, so he tried to connect me to different people. That is when I saw that there are also gay rights organizations in Uganda. So I remember there is this one time, one of the friends that I've gotten through the groups told me, I want to take you to see some other people. So we went and I saw quite a lot of people. They had an outreach about HIV. And they were giving out transport refund after. So they gave me money. And I'm like, why are you giving me money? No, I'm not taking this money. It is very evil. So my experience has always been, oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, here I am.
Yeah. So in terms of the community, have you had challenges that you'd be seen and treated in a certain way because some could see that you're different?
The general community?
Yeah, the general community. Yeah.
Way back from school, even when I've not known what I am, I've been discriminated. Boys, always backbenchers at the back, could throw words when you enter. They could say Kalovozi in Uganda. It means someone with a very tiny voice because my voice was very soft way back. So they could call me all sorts of names, and they could call me things like Oyomusiyazi, that guy is gay. I didn't even know what it means,
Yeah.
So they throw a lot of words, mostly in Uganda, even when you're moving. Even now, if I happen to be around on the street, people could be like, look at that one. You deserve to die. You don't deserve to live. Look at you. So in Uganda, everything is homophobic. Everything, whether you are in a shop buying something and someone sees you, though you will see them backbiting, making signals to each other.
Yeah.
So you live in a life where you are very tensed. So discrimination has always been there.
Yeah.
And I think it is one of the things that have groomed me to be so brave and bold, like I am today. Because if I wasn't treated that way, in a way, I reach a point knowing that whenever people see me and then or maybe my girls, we are running the city, we are moving on the streets, and they start pointing fingers, I just tell them, no, we are special.
Yeah.
Simply because we are very special. And in me, I grow knowing gays are very super talented.
We are. In
Very
many ways.
talented.
In many ways.
And very bright.
Yeah.
So I reached a point when I'm not bothered, not until it came to a point whereby it's taking my life, it's costing my studies, it's taking me to prison, it's exposing me everywhere, and I'm like a threat to the government. So yeah.
Sure.
That's when I realized that the hassle is real.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. You fleeing the country. How did it get to that point, and you taking the decision to say, okay, now I have to?
Well, having spent some good time in the community, and I had reached university.
Okay.
So when I reached university, of course, I was still hiding because I was commuting
Okay.
from home to school.
Yeah.
So at university, I had to go to hostel. So that is when I was fully exposed to gay bars, of course, tiny bars in Uganda. And then I get to see how the real community is, how everything, the real world of the gay community in Uganda. And I had grown, with that heart, yearning to help and everything.
Yeah.
So I volunteered in different organizations, but I thought there is something that is lacking. And with me, I felt like I need to cover up this gap.
Okay.
So I was at university in my very first year. I was doing bachelor's in community psychology.
Okay.
So having been exposed to all the knowledge, the dynamics around mental health and everything, I realized many people have been, killed. And most of them kill themselves.
Sure.
Due to, they commit suicide due to quite a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I also saw quite a lot of my friends opening up about their HIV statuses. And after opening up, life never gets back to normal. They start living with all the discrimination, with all the, the bad words that are being talked about them. So it's never the same. So I told myself, I think we need to do something. So there is this one event that sparked my journey.
Yeah.
When one of my colleagues, he was in another university, but they were very good friends.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, John Bryan.
Oh.
So he was beaten to death in eastern Uganda. We don't know how, but it seems someone entered his house and used like an axe to smash his head and put knives in his eardrums and everything. So, oh my God, the news escalated all over the country. And what they were saying, the gay man was killed, many people were jubilating. So when I saw all that happening, and it had happened to one of the very most closest people that I know, the persons that I've hung out with, I felt so indebted to the community. And I was like, I think I should do something. how do we come up with something that is going to help ourselves? Because this was a transgender woman.
Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
She died around 2019.
Yeah.
2019, 2020 in Eastern Uganda. Different Ugandans know this person, John Bryan, in Eastern Uganda. Yeah, by the way, to the viewers from Uganda, I didn't greet you, muje baliko, mbagala nnyo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when I thought of starting Prism Uganda. Then I called on my friends within the university. Of course, they are queer persons, but in silos.
Yeah.
So that was my very immediate, what should I call, contact persons. I called them and told them, no, we could always meet in my hostel and just speak, talk.
Yeah.
So initially it was just talking to each other, reflecting on the death of our friends, not knowing that it is going to grow big and big. So we went after the funeral. We did not even bury because the community that side were very well prepared with pangas, with sticks, with everything, knowing gays, those are gays, those are gays. So when they started, one of the sisters of the deceased who knew who the deceased was, she came and they were like, you know what, you need to leave this place because these people are saying you are the very people that caused the death of their of their child. But we thank God that the family at least accepted to bury that person because many do not.
Is it?
Yeah.
So what do they do with the body?
They reject the bodies, or maybe they can take them in and they refuse to pray for them. Can you imagine?
Sure.
So that is when Prism grew out. We registered the organization, and we started very slowly with outreaches, online sensitizations, different spaces here and there. Before you know it, we have a very big WhatsApp group, and we are making an impact slowly but sure. So last year we had a shelter. It was last year around March. We had a shelter and we had an office and everything. So we were partnering with another organization in Eastern Uganda. So we had to go and visit our partners. We had an outreach that side, and we went with our fellow peer educators just to have a chat on how we are going to offer services. So that evening, I don't think I'll ever forget that day. It was on the 16th of March, 2023. That is, we were in our meeting just chilled in our small office space, and that is when police came through. They bumped into our place and then they told us, okay, what are you doing here? You're all boys. What are you planning to do? And then we are like, okay, we are here for a meeting. Is there any problem? Please bring out your IDs. We showed the IDs and everything. They told us, please escort us to police. We just have something small to discuss about. Something small became a very big a very big issue. When we reached there, they forced us to admit that we have been playing pornography, gay pornography, and we are recruiting young boys and whatsoever and advocating for gay rights. Okay, which was right, but the other things are not.
But how now is it's being the narrative that is being started is false narrative.
And we are like, do you have proof? we do not even know what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Then they took our phones by force, to not communicate with anyone. They called the central police station, which is bigger, and then they called different journalists. Before you know it, before even making any statement, the journalists were around, just there to take our pictures, to expose our pictures, beat us like nothing.
How many were you?
We were 6.
Okay.
So they beat me brutally, beat my other people that I was with, and they were forced to say that, just you have to admit, we are recruiting gay people, we are doing gay pornography here. And then it was very terrible, to an extent that they could just beat you, take pictures without consent, without even proving you guilty or anything. And then before you know it, the news escalated, and the IGP, Inspector of Police in Uganda, made a very big statement about us without doing anything. Then the next day, I remember each and every event, they didn't allow us to even talk to any of our parents or anything. And I showed them my student ID. I was on my very last year at university.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm a student. Next week I'm starting examinations. So could we please be released on bond? And they're like, no, we cannot. Before you know it, the next day, they're calling us, taking us for first annual examinations.
No.
That incident was very traumatizing.
I can imagine.
I actually do not know how a professional doctor can get their finger into my behind like this to prove my gayness. We had 4 first annual examinations, 4 sessions from different doctors.
Okay, that is traumatic.
And besides all that, the most dreadful thing, they took HIV tests without consent, and they found that most of the people, or some of the people in the group, were sick. And they went on media and wrote their names. If you can go and look for that incident, it happened on the 16th of March in Jinja, Eastern Region, Uganda. They wrote names of people and their HIV statuses. Until now, I'm wondering, who does that? Police spokesperson in Uganda.
So your rights were violated in so many ways.
In very many ways, to an extent that you are literally saying nothing. Like, we were put in a very big fear.
And now you're not even given an opportunity to
speak to even the lawyers or something.
Yeah.
But they are just carrying out things every now and then. When they put you on the police car, they put on the siren around the entire city, saying, people, these are very dangerous people. We saw different religious leaders uttering out different statements on our case, different political leaders, different people in the nation. That case actually sparked off the signing of the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023 in Uganda, because it was a very big case.
Yeah.
So even in our statements, they told us what we should say. You should say this and this and this. And I'm like, no, you couldn't. And how could you even say no? They could just slap you. They could just drag you in the cells and tell everyone those people are very dangerous. Beat them in the cells. Can you imagine telling your fellow cellmates that they should beat you inside the cells?
So in all of this, it's very much clear that there was a goal that they wanted to achieve. They were driving a certain narrative that they wanted to put out there. What does it mean to you in the midst of all of this happening? What goes through your mind? How do you keep going?
Within that time,
Yeah,
we cried and cried and cried. And we just prayed that at least people could come out for our rescue, or even different organizations or anything. But we could also understand no one could just come and claim us like that.
Yeah.
Because it was such a very big, offense. It's only the legal entities that could come and at least represent us. But if other organizations came through by that time, of course, we don't know what could happen, because they tortured us very much to speak different organizations. So they took our phones. We never got our phones and laptops.
They're still with them.
They're still with them. That they are doing forensic and whatsoever.
It's it's so appalling with how everything went, particularly in how you were violated in different ways. But I think beyond it is the painting queer people as dangerous to society.
Exactly.
Because then you start asking yourself, what is the danger that I'm bringing to society by just being me? You know?
I understand, yeah.
And also, to go further to say, there are many societal issues that should actually be given priority, right?
Yeah.
People don't have work. There are issues of
Exactly.
poverty. There's issues of resources, limited resources that can help, improve people's lives. There are issues of inequality in different spaces. But as government, you choose to prioritize a person's right of living to
Yeah.
saying, no, it's dangerous to society. I mean, now it's been taken to that level of now that it's made to be law, that you can't be yourself, right? With your organization, how do you think that, as different queer people within the African continent particularly, we can on daily basis try to do our best, not only to raise awareness, but also, to infiltrate different spaces where we can, bring positive impact. I know of some of the Ugandans that are in the US that are really doing, great work, to try and make sure that, human rights are seen as such, and irrespective of you're queer or not.
So what I should say, different activists and different organization leaders that decided to be on the forefront, be expecting anything at any time. But please, what we have to do is to stride on. Let's fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Let's fight with love in our wasts. Let's keep fighting. Let's keep the fight moving.
Yeah.
If you only have your mouth, use the mouth. If you can write, please do. In each and every space you get into, and there is an opportunity to address what is happening in different African countries, because this is only when people will know.
Yeah.
I hadn't shared this story to any media ever since I left prison, because after police we were taken to court, and from court we were taken to remand in prison for 6 months. If I take you through what happened in those entire 6 months, you would ask, how do you cope? How do you live? How do you do this and this? But trust me, this is a repetitive kind of thing. It happened to me, not only me, but it is still happening
to others as well.
Other people. As I speak now, there are quite a lot in prison today, and they're charging them with homosexuality, and they are being charged under the new law, and they might be subjected to 10 years in prison or even a lifetime imprisonment.
Sure. Which now also when you're in prison, you're not exposed to people that can actually harm you, because obviously there are, people that would discriminate against you, that are anti-homosexual.
When you are brought to prison, they make a parade. they make, let me just say, a press statement everywhere. Because in prison, there are something like 7 wards. And in each ward, there are a total number of around 120, 100 and something.
Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
That you sleep with. And every day they do parades early in the morning. And each and every officer that comes in prison to count or to do anything, they're going to address to everyone. And, they speak boldly. These are evil people. These are gay. Please discriminate them. Please stay away from them. Of course, they are instilling the very bad culture that is outside prison. So you are in prison, but still you are not in the safest place to be. Everything that is done, they say, where are these gay people? Where are they? Come here. They beat you. To an extent that we are 6 and we are put in different wards. But if they see you speaking to your fellow, I was beaten very badly, simply because I spoke with my friend that I was brought with in prison on the very same file, on the very same case.
Sure. I have always said that I did not choose to be gay. I chose to accept myself for who I am. And I always say that there is no one in their rightful mind. They can wake up in the morning and choose to be something that they know that walking out, you basically are against the world. You're going to be discriminated against. You're going to be subjected to such, treatment. Why would you decide? Why would you wake up and want to be part of that?
Exactly.
And I look at leaders in different spaces, whether it's political leaders or religious leaders, of particularly the religious leaders that will talk about love, the love of God, but they're unable to practice the love of God, which then the Bible says we should not judge, God will judge, right? And how they will then interpret some of the scriptures to suit their narrative of saying, no, it's demonic, it's satanic, the Bible doesn't want that. But when you really go deep into doing research to find out what really was meant, what was the context even, right? You find that it's a totally different story, right? And that, with colonialism coming into the African continent, a lot changed. With me, I've got people that are very much old that I've had conversations with, that others would say, Tholo, we've seen people like yourselves before. That's why we could have a name for people like yourself. It's African to love everyone without discrimination. But now we live in this world, in this current time, when such things are done to feed a particular agenda, basically, for whatever reason, whether it could be political, whatever the case may be. But then behind closed doors, there are still people that have internalized homophobia that will then take it out, And I'm basically, putting this all out there, having, land of what you shared and what we see on daily basis that is being reported, right, in different spaces. With your organization, really, what would you say you're hoping that, at least on daily basis, you get to achieve? And what kind of support or assistance that you're hoping that your organization could get from anybody that could be watching or listening out there?
Yeah. So that's a very good question. So with me and my team, whenever we sit, we say we cannot help everyone. but at least one saved soul is enough. One change we make is just enough to change the community. Like I shared, these are people that live entirely in the house and move out at night because most of them are transitioning. And before you are fully transitioned, you cannot move boldly outside in a country like Uganda. So, and also getting hormones is very hard. Of course, there are different organizations that are trying to see that everything like such things are available. But it makes it so hard in a very hostile with brutal laws like Uganda and different African countries. So we at least make sure that we offer shelter to those that have been maybe neglected from their houses, from their homes by their parents. We bring them in. Then I've been in prison before, and I know what it means getting out of prison when you have literally lost everything. My dear, I went out of prison. I went back to university, and the university, I don't want to mention the name, but most of the people know. It's one of the biggest universities in Uganda. Actually, it's the biggest institution. They told me, Fabian, I was only left with 6 papers to get my degree. But because of my sexuality and what escalated on the media, they mentioned I misrepresented the university. Hence, I cannot claim for my examinations that were done previously in that very final semester. That broke me till to date.
I can imagine.
So within my organization, we make sure that whoever reaches, if we cannot offer help, we see how we connect them to where they can get help. So mostly shelter, because we are running a very safe space. We have tried to see that we create a safe space for transgender persons and the entire queer persons. Because if you bring in only these people, there are quite a lot of people. So apparently we have 5 because of limited space and limited capital and resources. These people need like admin. We need people to be around to carry out this and that, which we don't pay. We are all volunteers. Rent on a daily. Humanitarian support. People are beaten on a daily. So you have to see that people at the shelter are fed, and then before you know it, there is also this person that has been beaten out there and they need attention. So we collaborate with different organizations to see how we mend the situation. And we run a social support group each and every weekend where we collect our members. It's more of a get-together thing. Let's celebrate ourselves. Those who are HIV positive. Let's find love. Because they are discriminated. You never know. You can be here and your boyfriend is here. Whom can understand you with your status, your sexuality, and appreciate you the way you are. So that is something that we are trying to build. But again, we bring them together. We have to feed them. You have to give them some transport to go back because most of them are not working. And not in a way that we are saying that please, we are facilitating you, so please do not work. There are no jobs. So if these other people are not getting jobs, so then what about a queer person? What about a transgender woman?
It's even worse.
It's very worse. So basically, we are trying to see how we come up with the most safest space. So we are working on a proposal where we can have a trans clinic. Because yes, there are services that are being given to marginalized persons, but transgender persons are still battling with, So this wellness center, we have a psychologist in place and a health worker and then a social worker in place, and then these other 3 who are just volunteering in the admin work. So we are trying to see that we have a mental health wing, and then we have this other healthcare wing where people could come and pick their PrEP, their PEP. Apparently, we are doing that, but we want to standardize the space. At least we get a shelter space somewhere, because it is not always good like having the shelter within this, you know. So we are trying as much, but we are putting mental health care at the front and HIV health care at the front, and then humanitarian aid. Because when a person does not have where to stay, you have to give them space to stay, but again, rehabilitate them. Speak to them on a daily. They have already lost hope. Attend to them. Like, make them feel at home. Have sessions with them. Most of them are battling with rejection within parents and everything. So do the parental work. And you know, it is very hard to extend love to an adult who have literally lost hope. So it takes a very big journey. And at times, our psychologists and the social worker, they also get tired because you are not paying them. And not in a bad way. You have to understand them. So how do? You just energize them one time. We shall get there. So most of the team, we started with a very big team. They have dropped off because they have quite a lot of things to do. But I'm seeing where we are going. That's what I love. I'm seeing where we are going slowly. So whoever wants to help, you are very much welcome, because we really, really need help. Not help in monetary forms, but also through partnerships, through connections, through spaces where me as the director can speak. And I'm really grateful, because most of the people are so green about what's happening in different African countries that have such draconian laws. So I'm grateful to have opened up. And I know most of the people are going to be like, oh, so this is happening. A person can be in prison for 6 months and claim for bail, and then they be denied bail without even proof. We were denied bails for over 10 times. And when they reached a point whereby they couldn't prove us guilty, but they wanted us inside the prison every time we were presented to court, the magistrate could not appear. They could get appointments, they could go to holidays, they could go to vacations, they could always have some work to do, and yet they gave you a certain date that you should reappear in court. Can you imagine? You reach and they tell you the state attorney is not around, the magistrate is busy on a trip, the magistrate went somewhere, the magistrate is seeing someone. Today we are very busy, so that you go back. But we have a law that says by the time you spend 6 months and they have failed to prove you guilty, they must release you on bail, and you have to reappear in court. So in most of the times we try to reappear. So the state was doing so hard to be sure that we get back to prison, with religious leaders putting in power, talking to people. So religion has been politicized. So, and it is this one place where people come and, in very big numbers. And people have a very big belief in different religious leaders. So when they tell them, oh, like this, each and every religious leaders in their sermon, like these boys that were caught, these 6 boys, So that's when I realized with my other colleagues, of course, not all of them, because we split on the journey where different people could not make it. So they were caught again put in prison in Zimbabwe. So it was a whole lot of mess. It's a whole lot of, story.
It's a lot. It's unfortunate that we've got limited time, but I need to thank you very much, not for only coming, for sharing your story, but also I think for always living your life as authentically as you can.
Exactly.
For your bravery, for your selflessness. We need more of you as queer people, particularly in the African continent. And I want to wish you all the best in every endeavor that you get involved in. And my hope is that somebody that is watching out there, they find inspiration in your story. They find motivation in your story, and that some people that are watching as well, they find ways, to support your cause, to assist in making sure that, you are able to achieve the goals and that you work towards on daily basis. And of course, we need to keep talking. We need to have these conversations, as often as we can, because there's still more to be shared. There's still much education that we need to do to the entire society. There are a lot of stories that are spoken about us without, even allowing us to tell our stories. And the fact that you are here, for me, it's a big thank you that you made time to come speak to us. I hope that we'll have another chance again someday to have a sit down and talk more about other issues and, other aspects of work that you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much as well. Thank you, our beautiful viewers. Thank you for always watching the show. I'm really happy that I've been on the show. I mean, it was a very short time, but it happened.
It does.
So, Ugandan people, I love you so much. Tulemezemu, tusigale nga activists Uganda tubeerawo nnyo. Let's keep fighting. Let's fight for our community. Let's instead spread love. Let's work together. One day, one time, we shall get there. So my name is Fabian, the bold type. Yeah,
Fabiola the Boldtype. But that's how we're wrapping up today's episode. And I hope that you have found something from this conversation. Leave your comments. Let us know what you think. And also, some of the suggestions that you may have in terms of us as queer people, particularly in the African continent. What is it that we can do more to make sure that all of us are safe and we are able to protect our human rights, and that our human rights are seen as human rights like any other person on earth? Until the next time, stay blessed.